Now before we start this job, it's important to make sure that you have your window in the up position. It's going to make it much easier overall. So to start getting the door panel off of here, we're going to need to remove some stuff. You're going to have a couple little plugs here, and those are covering some Phillips head screws. So I like to just pop those out with my flathead screwdriver. Now we're going to use our trim tool, and we're going to remove this outer plastic piece here. To do that, there's going to be a little clip hidden inside there, and over here. So I'm just going to start right along here. Continuing with our plastic trim tool, we're going to lift up on this plastic piece here, starting from the rear. There we are. Let's disconnect all this wiring. Switch right here. Just pull that right out of there. The next thing you're going to want to do is remove this area right here. Yours is probably going to have a nice lens cover over it. Ours is broken. You just kind of come right down along the corner here. You should be able to pop it off. Now we're going to disconnect the wire. Lift up on that. Separate the two. Now we're just going to use a little forky tool. Remove this push clip right here. Now we'll move along up to here. Now we're going to remove this piece right here. It should pretty much just lift straight up and out. There we are. Now let's continue with our trim tool. We're going to come right down along the bottom of the door panel and try to break it free. Wiring down in here. Okay. Lift straight up on it, remove the panel. So the next thing you would want to do is slide this. There's a little area right here that looks as though it should have a screw. Ours does not. But if there is one, just remove that. And then once you do, you should be able to slide this and then draw it away. Right behind here, you're going to see the rods that run right along here and connect over there. We're going to disconnect them from the back side of this. I'll just pull this out to where we can see. I can see this rod. I'm just going to come down with my nice small screwdriver and just try to separate these two parts. There we are. Do the same to the other one, of course. Next, it's going to be time to remove the speaker. There should be a screw here and there. Ours are missing, but remove those two screws. And then right here, there's a little tab. Push on this, and then you should be able to pull the speaker away from the panel itself. Now we're going to disconnect the wiring that goes to it. Right there. Let's tape up this window. The next thing we're going to do is start carefully pulling this plastic back. And this is so that we can get to all the wiring, because we want to make sure that we can disconnect it and have it nice and safe after we take off this panel. There we go. That looks pretty decent. So now we're going to remove this plate right here. You're going to notice that there's a whole bunch of these mounting bolts right there. They come all the way around. All of them are the same, an exception of the one right here. We're going to carefully try to move this around, just see if it breaks free. You want to keep in mind that the window regulator is mounted to this plate, and the window regulator also is attached to the glass up here. It has a couple little rollers that are going to go into a track. So if we were to pull this down, we could of course pull a tug on the window, which might pull it down. The window's glass, so obviously you want to wear eye protection. Safety is the #1 concern. The next thing we need to do is remove the rivets that are holding the window regulator to this panel. You can do that with something like this, with a drill and a nice drill bit, or you can do it with something like this with a nice cutoff wheel. Obviously, if you use a cutoff wheel, you might, nick this area around here a couple times, in which case you would just paint over it and it's not that big of a deal. That looks pretty good. I'll punch the rest of that out. and punch. Go right for the center there. Okay, those popped out. One more here. Here we are. The window regulator can move around. If you look right through here on the panel, you're going to see where the rods kind of are secured to the panel itself. You should be able to push those away. There's one right over here as well. Awesome. Let's remove this bolt. So now you have the rod that comes through this right here. We're just going to pull that right down. Okay. This is looking good. Now we're just going to let this dangle. Obviously you want to make sure you don't put any weight on any of the wires. We don't want to give this any tugs. We're going to grab onto the window regulator, just slide it towards the front, and then we should be able to kind of pull it down, assuming I can get it out of there. So now we just need to disconnect the wiring for it. Squeeze right there and draw it off. Now that we have a clear view, we can remove this 10mm right here, and then if you were to look on the outer portion of the door, you're also going to see another 10mm. So now I can move the handle around, and you can see this little metal clip right here. That's what's holding in this rod. If you come right down along here with your pocket screwdriver, there's a little tab. You just kind of pull that out and away. You can bend it a little bit, and then you should be able to lift up on this clip. There it is. And then once that's up, the rod should want to come right out of there. Now that we have all that out of the way, we're going to remove these screws so we can get this off of here. So now we can move this around. We're going to see if we can get this up and out of here. Now I'm just going to draw up on that rod, pull this right out. Now that we've got that out of the way, we can grab onto this. We're going to try to move these rods because we're going to have to try to twist this to get it out from around there. Get this right out of there. So we're just going to do a quick comparison of our two latches here just to make sure we're dealing with the same objects. We have all the same parts. We have the areas where the rods are going to go on. That's super important. And of course, the overall appearance looks the exact same. Now that we know we have the right part, let's continue on to removing these rods, and we're going to do them one at a time, and we're going to put them exactly where we got them from onto the new one. To get these off, you just come right under here with your small screwdriver and lift up. Once that's bent and lifted, you should be able to come like this and move that whole piece, and that's going to release the rod. Go a little bit further here. Okay. That came right out. Like I said, I'm going to do them one at a time. I'm just going to slide this right in, give it a press, and give it a tug. It's going to move around, but it should not be able to fall out. If it falls out, you need to fix your clip. Let's do the same to the rest of the rods. Let's get this in the door. Okay, that looks great, just like that for now. So now we need to make sure that the red rod that's coming from the handle is going to slide down into the slot on the latch. And you also want to make sure that once we get that done, we put this on there as well. So now if we move the handle around a little bit, we can line up the rod with the hole down in there. And then we're going to carefully get this handle back in. That looks good. Let's take our little bolts. Start that one in there, and then of course the one on the outside right there. Now that they're both started in, let's go ahead and snug them up. This is sitting perfectly. So now let's just go ahead and start in these bolts for the latch. Just a couple threads. Snug these up. So now we're going to get this rod back up onto there. Let's try to get this on there. Ah. Oh yeah, that looks good. Give it a nice tug. Make sure it doesn't fall right out. It's clipped in good. You can see that you have your two rollers that are facing in the same direction, and then you have one that is not. The two that are facing in the same direction are going to be the two that go up inside the upper channel up here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the first one through, and then we'll put the second one through, and we'll let the window regulator hang just like this. The next thing we need to do is get these rods. These are going to go in between the window regulator and the panel itself. Something else that I want to show you before I put the panel up is this wheel right here is going to go inside the track that's on the inside of this door panel right there, okay? This little piton right here is going to go inside of this piece right there through the bottom. This is all going to be inside the door panel, so it's going to be hard to see, so I'm trying to let you know ahead of time what's going on. This goes in the track, this goes in the piton there, okay? We'll lift these up. Get this thing so it's kind of sitting where it's going to need to go. I'm just kind of resting the rods up here where hopefully they'll stay for a minute. Now I'm going to get everything else lined up. Get this back inside of its groove. Just make sure that the two wheels up on top are sitting inside the groove where they need to roll. That feels perfect. Rods are up here. Pull those back up. I'm going to put the one with the piton in now. Slide that right up and in there. The other rod is going to ride right underneath that one, so we'll just put them both so they're kind of up here for now. So now that we have the window regulator and the rods lined up perfectly, we're just going to take this. I'm going to put one bolt in. Lift up on the panel. Make sure that these ears go over the panel that's on the door there. It should sit right in there. I'm going to slide my window regulator around till I can find my rivet holes. I've got one there, there, and there. Perfect. The next thing we're going to need, some of these right here. Nice, beautiful rivets. These are 1/4 inch. We're going to need 4 of them. Slide that in and through there. I like to start them all in before I tighten any of them up. That way there I know that it lines up overall. Now before you rivet this in, it's important to double, triple, quadruple check to make sure you have everything on the inside of this door panel set up right. You need to have the rollers and the channel up along the top. You need to have the roller and the channel that runs along here. You need to have the rods sitting inside the little piton area on that unit that I showed you and coming up in this direction here so you can get to them. Once you've done that, you also want to make sure that the wiring for the window regulator is plugged in. And then we can continue on by using this right here and putting in these rivets to hold the window regulator to the panel. Just make sure the rivets don't fall out. All right, that's a good sound. That means we're at the end of that rivet. At that point, you can of course trim off the excess. We'll do the same to all. The next thing we're going to do is cut off these little ends here. I like to use my cutoff tool. I'm just going to come along the top here and put in a few of these bolts to try to hold this panel still for a minute. And then we're going to test the window regulator ahead of time before we continue on any further. That way there, if there's any problems, we can fix it now. Click this in. Put the key in the on position. I'm going to try not to tear this tape because I might have to reuse it. I'm hoping that I won't, but we'll see. Beautiful. The window's going up and down the track perfectly straight. It's going down when I tell it to go down, it stops when I tell it to stop, and it goes up when I tell it to go up. This is perfect. Let's get the tape off of here and continue. So now let's check to make sure that these rods are working perfectly for the latch and of course for the handle. I'm going to start with this inner one. I'm going to pull the rod that has the little piton that goes to the locking mechanism inside here, the electronic locking mechanism. I'm going to pull that towards the front of the door. That's the unlock position. Now I'm going to grab that other rod and I'm going to push this up. This is simulating that the door is in the shut position. I'm going to pull on that rod and this should come down. That means that I can open the door now. Let's go ahead and shut that door. I'm going to do it again, give the rod a pull. Awesome. Okay, flip it back up. Now I'm going to take that first rod with the piton for the locking mechanism. I'm going to push it towards the latches. Let's pull on that same rod that's going to work this mechanism here. Okay, that is not working. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull on this other rod, the locking rod, and now I'll pull on the latch rod again. That works great. Let's do the same over here. I'm going to grab this outer handle. Right now I'm in the unlocked position, so I'm going to put pressure on this, pull on that, and it releases. Door's shut. I'm going to lock it, push on this, pull on the outer handle. Okay, it's locked. I unlocked it. Awesome. This works perfectly. Let's continue. So now that we know that everything functions as it should, we can continue on by bolting in the plate here, or the door panel. We're going to use all of our little bolts and just go right along the outer area. I'm just going to start them in and then I'll snug them all up once I get all the way around. Awesome. Just reach in here. We're going to grab the wire for the speaker, connect it in. Make sure we don't have anything on the magnet here. If you were to look at the speaker, you're going to see a little tab there, and then there should be one here. We're going to come at an angle and slide them right into these little grooves here. Should slide in. Pretend that they're both in. Press it, it should click right in. So now you would just, of course, want to get this back on here. For us, it's not going to stick. You can get yourself some butyl tape and get it to all stick back on there. It's probably a great idea. Now it's going to be time to install the inside door handle. If you were to look at the back side, you're going to see an area right here for the door handle rod, and then an area right here for the lock rod. I'm going to grab those rods. I'm going to line them up. You can start with whichever one works best for you. I'll go with the one that's farthest away because I'll have the most amount of flexing action. Make sure it clicks in and it does not fall out. If it falls out, you have an issue. Next, I'm going to do the lock, or the handle one. Obviously, it's very hard to get the right angle. Okay, I got it lined up. I'm just going to squeeze it right in there. Give it a nice tug. Make sure it does not fall out. Now we're just going to take this unit. We're going to press it up so it's up against the panel and it's sitting in the grooves. And then we'll slide it towards the latch. So now for good measure, I'm just going to throw a rivet right in here. You could try to put a nut and a bolt and reach your hand back through there if you have to. Okay. That's nice and tight. I'll just cut this off now. So we're just going to get this in here. Should have a nice little cover over it. So now it's going to be time to get the door panel back on. If you were to feel right down along here, you're going to feel there's a ridge. That's going to sit right over along the top of this. And then of course you have all these little push tabs that are going to go inside of all these holes after we've done that. Let's grab our wiring, get that all ready. I'm going to click this in because now is the time to do it before I get this together. I've got my wires in my hand. I'm just going to kind of pull those through. Let's get this up onto here. Okay. Look to make sure your pieces all line up. There we are. Time to get the cover on here. Let's make sure our door is unlocked. Should just slide right over. Couple loving bonks. That feels good. Let's get this area back on. Now it's going to be time to get this reinstalled back into the door panel. We'll connect in our speaker wire. Super important. We've got our mirror wire. Click it in, give it a tug. Get my wire situated here. I'm going to turn this. Slide it right in. This one. Slides right in. everything is nice and secured. You want to make sure the speaker wire is going through this slot and not over here, otherwise it could get a pinch coming across there. To install this, you're going to notice you have a hooky-doo right here towards the front area, and then you have your clips right here that are going to latch right there. That being said, come in high and put in the front area first with the hooky-doo, and then right here, give it a nice push. Couple loving bonks. Perfect. We don't want to forget about this. You've got your little clip here, and as you can tell, it slides down. You also have your hooky-doos there that are going to ride along this ridge right there. Come up nice and high, push in, slide down. Give it a nice tug. Make sure it does not rattle around and it's not falling off. We need a little clip right here. Now it's time to get these 2 screws into the handle area here. Make sure it's nice and tight. Don't forget about your little covers. Them in whichever hole you want. Nothing special. Now it's going to be time to test our work. So you want to make sure you have the key in the on position. The vehicle does not have to be running. Let's go ahead and try to put this window down. And then back up. Battery's a little low in this vehicle. Perfect. Passenger side. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and test the mirror. Right side. Yep. Awesome.